Hello, you're watching Ellie from Elementary Paper Crafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the UK. Today I'm bringing you something a little bit different really from the kind of things that I normally make. So it's this card here, very delicate white colours that I've used, and a little bit of designer series paper and some die cuts. So let me get on and show you how I made it. So I'm using a card base which measures 5 3/4 inches square, and in centimetres that's just over, it's about 14.5 square. Then I took a piece of our basic white cardstock and I embossed it using our woodland embossing folder from Stampin' Up. Now, just after I bought that one, I'm afraid retired. So unless you've already bought this one, you won't be able to use this, but any embossing folder will do. Now, I've used some adhesive foam to pop on the back of this piece because I wanted it to lift up from the card. And Stampin' Up do have the adhesive foam. You'll find it on my page 167 of our catalogue. And it's here, double-sided adhesive foam sheets. And you can use it in as die cuts or use it with scissors. And it's really, really useful. So the reason I do that is because it's quite a large area and I want it to be stood up from the card. If you use dimensionals or foam tape, you would have, it would be raised around the outside, but the middle could dip. All right, so I prefer to use this. I find it gives you a much better finish to your card. So I'm just going to take the adhesive backing off and just pop this onto my card. Make sure I got it the right way up. So you'll see that it leaves a border all the way round of about 1/4 inch because I've cut this piece of cardstock to 5.5 inches square, and that is 13.4 centimetres. But don't get too hung up on measurements. Just make a square card to the size you want, and this mat needs to be just smaller to show a bit of a border all the way around. Then I've taken another piece of the basic white cardstock, and this measurement isn't critical, but just, you know, if you want to know, it's the same height wise, and it's about 1/3 of this width, which I think turned out to be about 1 3/4 inches. Yeah, which is 4.5 centimetres. Now this piece I'm just going to stick down in the centre, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to raise that up or not. I think I'm going to lay that piece flat. So I'm going to use some tear and tape or double-sided tape, whatever you'd like to call it, and just pop a piece on 2 sides. And then I'm just going to take off the backing tape at 2 ends. And just pop in the middle. I did get the idea for this card from Pinterest, and I looked back at all the places it had been taken from to see if I could find where it originated, and I'm really sorry, but I couldn't find out who actually created the card in the first place. But if that person's watching, then thank you very much for the inspiration. So I've actually just taken the basic idea of the white on white and the layering and used Stampin' Up products. Okay, now I've used one of my very favourite sets from the annual catalogue, and that's artistically inked. And I've not used the actual stamp set today. I've taken the gorgeous die from the set that's available to go with the stamp set, and I've used this so much. It's so versatile. I absolutely love this sort of group of leaves. They really look as if they're growing and hanging down from a plant. I love that. So I've cut that out again in white, and I've cut it in half because I just want to slightly change the orientation of this particular grouping. So it's going to go sort of something like this. So I wanted it to be a kind of like S shape. I've got some little pieces of the designer series paper, and I've chosen the one that goes with artistically inked, and I've just cut some tiny little squares, which I believe are 1.5 inches square, and in centimeters that would be just under 4 centimeters square. So I've taken 3 pieces, and I'm going to pop them across the center like so. And I thought I'll pop them sort of like that. Okay. Now I think I'm going to put that one there, and this is going to be my center one, so that the colour flows that way. That's it. And I'll pop that one, I think, round there. So you'll notice that I haven't stuck this one down, and that's because I'm going to pop this onto the top of this mat, and then I'm going to pop that on top of it. Okay, so let's just place it on here to see where it's going to go. That's it. So I'm just going to bring this back in and put a little bit of adhesive. I just want it, come on, it didn't want to leave that little nesting place there. So I've just put the glue on the back of there, and I'm going to pop that on there like that. I want these bits to be free, hanging free. And then that's going to go on there. So let's get a little bit more glue and pop it on the back of there. In fact, if I just do that, I think that would transfer it. That'll be fine. Right, that's got the desired effect. And now I'll be able to pop the piece on there like so. That's it. So and so this is how it's going to look. And I'm going to raise just the centerpiece up onto some dimensionals. Get this nice and central like so. Okay, now it's your choice whether you raise these pieces up or lay them flat on your card. I quite like them to be flat, so that it just gives this a bit more attention. Yeah, so I'm going to put these down flat to the card. So there, that's the centre of it done. I've taken a strip of the basic white cardstock, and I think it's about 1/2 inch, but I mean, it's not critical. No, it's not even 1/2 inch, it's about 3/8. And I've covered it with a strip of the same paper. And again, I've gone from this is pale papaya through to the two pinks, magenta and polished pink. And I'm going to pop that just underneath slightly here, just to mirror the design and just to give it a little bit more interest. And that piece, I'm just going to bring up, I am going to bring this up as well. I want this to have a little bit of dimension. So I'm leaving a small gap there, barely 1/4 of an inch, and that's just going to come up from the card there. I think you'll agree that does look really pretty. Now, I found in Hydrangea Haven the dies that complete this set. I just open that up. I discovered, I hadn't really looked at this properly, but I discovered this smashing little tiny little tag die in there. So I've taken that out, and also this one down here. Now, I cut the tag out of some basic white cardstock, and then I just used a blending brush and the ink pad, the polished pink ink pad, just to colour around the outside of that. And then this is using the long die there. Oh, where's it gone? Wrong stamp set. If you cut those out, it makes these gorgeous little tiny flowers. And I thought that looked really cute on there. Now this is a little bit fiddly. I want to tie this under this little piece I've created here. So I've just push it along under there, in between the little dimensionals, and then I'm simply going to tie it in a knot and a bow. Well, I might be a bit ambitious saying a bow at this stage. It might not be a bow because it's a bit fiddly. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to pop it actually through one of the holes in this leaf, because then I know it will stay in that place. I'm not going to faff around with that anymore because I shall make it worse. But I am just going to add a mini glue dot, a mini dimensional underneath that tag, just to keep it there, like so. And then just to finish this off, I've got the rest of those daisies that I cut out from that die, or whatever you want to call these, and I'm just going to place them randomly on the white background, just to add a little bit more interest, perhaps just like so. For that, I can just use some wet glue, Tombow. I don't know if you can see, but I've actually stuck one on top of the other just to make this look a bit more obvious. It just shows a bit better brought up slightly more from the card. Makes it quite chunky. Oops. You can do that with die cuts, just add layers to build them up a bit, and it makes them look a little bit like the chipboard embellishments that you can buy. Nice and chunky, and pop that there. And then the last thing I'm going to do, what's that? Oh, it's the backing from a dimensional. The last thing I'm going to do is, again, with the artistically inked suite comes these lovely little sequins, and they really do add a little something to it. So I'm just going to, actually, I'm not sure if these are actually, yes, they are adhesive. That's handy. I won't have to find glue. So I'm just going to pop one or two of these sequins. Pop that on there. So that's today's finished card. I hope you really like that. It's something a little bit different, quite plain, very delicate, very feminine. I hope you've enjoyed watching today's video. You'll find links to the annual catalogue and the current mini catalogues in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube. There's also a link to my online store if you'd like to purchase anything from the Stampin' Up catalogue. If you're watching my Facebook page, you'll see a link to the shop at the top of the page. So I hope you've enjoyed it today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye for now.